Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Career Retrospectives, episode number 90, right here at the Super Review Show Network. I am joined by my two incredible good friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
Hey guys, what's up?
Ready to get explicit today, guys. I mean, we might lose our sponsorships. We might get demonetized. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh,
prep,
monetization.
yeah, prep for the demonetization of the channel because, as the title of this episode suggests, alludes to, and sure as hell says it, we're talking today. We spun the wheel last week, and it landed on my choice of extremes. Pornograffitti from 1990. Yes, we're all adults here. We can tolerate it. All right. Pornograffitti from 1990, the heavy metal hard rock album from 1990 that Extreme put out. It was their second album. They got released. This is my pick. As I said, we spun the wheel and we decided it's landed on my pick. So here we go. I'm very excited to talk about this album because there's a little bit of backstory really quick for Extreme as a band. It was 2022. I left work at 12 noon, where we are in the U.S. I'm not gonna tell you where we are in New York, but I was able to drive to Boston to see Aerosmith's 50th anniversary show in 2022, in September of 22, and I saw Extreme open up for Aerosmith at their 50th anniversary show at Fenway Park, and I drove 3 hours to get there, and I made it with time to spare. So I was flying through the interstate like that. But needless to say, though, it's a great show overall. But I didn't realize how much I really enjoyed Extreme's music until I saw them live open for Aerosmith. And also when I saw them and I went back and revisited this album. This is their second album. It's called Extreme 2, Pornograffitti. And as we already alluded to and talked about. And it's for those who've listened to us for any period of time, I'm not the biggest. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm not the biggest. I love my hair metal, my hair metal and stuff like that. But to me, this one kind of stands a little bit on its own. It's 1990. Grunge has not come out yet, and this album was driven by the one of the singles from the record, which is the acoustic ballad "More Than Words." Um, that was a number one hit single. Everyone kind of knows this album for knows that song from this one album, but not everyone really remembers the album because that was a number one hit single. The radio edits played contemporary to this day, whatever. But that's one acoustic song, one of two acoustic songs on this record that really have stood out to me, and really I really do appreciate this record quite a bit more than I thought I did initially. Um, and it is a hard rocking super. I wouldn't say like super hair metal, but it's hair metal. Um, a, and it's by Extreme, and there's so much I can go off of it, but we only have so much time, so I don't want to. So that's my little introduction right there. That I do love Extreme quite a bit, and it's funny actually. My dad heard this album live from start to finish when Extreme was touring in 2015 and performed the whole album from start to finish. So he got to see the whole album, start to finish live. So he's a big Extreme fan too. But let's jump over to the track listing for a second, the Wikipedia page. For those of you who watch this live, good for you. If not, just sit back and relax. So, Extreme 2 Pornograffitti, or simply known as Pornograffitti, is the second album by heavy metal band Extreme, released on August 7th, 1990. And the title, for those of you who are living under a rock and not sure what this is, it's a blend. I'm not going to say that word at all, that word right there, but it's a blend of pornography and graffiti. That's where the album title comes from. It has a couple of other hit singles on it outside of More Than Words. I'll get to those track listing songs in a second, but just I didn't realize going into our show this week, I was not sure. I didn't realize it was going to be a concept album until I was listening to it more and more about how I did a little bit more research on it. And I was really some of the heavier. I'll get to the track listing in 1 second, but just there are some songs in there that just really are slick and the production holds up really well for 1990. And it's a lot of the songs are just really hard rocking songs. You could throw them into a playlist. You could throw them into a hard rock gym playlist, and you could rock out to them no matter what. But if you listen to the album from start to finish, I've said this so many times. If you listen to this album from start to finish, you will actually have a nice little experience with it, a small story, if you will. Which I was taken back by, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. And then let's not forget, Nuno Betancourt's a phenomenal guitarist. I forgot how good he was until I listened to this album from start to finish again. But let's jump over to the track listing, shall we? So my standout tracks, and I'm going to rank them from 1 out of 10 because I haven't done that in a little bit, and Mike's waiting for me to do that. Yes, I know. He's like you haven't done it yet. um, So the track listing, it's a long album too. It's an hour and 4 minute song, but it's incredible. Uh, Decadence Dance is the opening track. Little Jack Horny is track number 2. When I'm President is track number 3. Get the Funk Out is track number 4. The acoustic ballad, More Than Words, not the radio edit, but the radio edit is 4 minutes. This one's 5 minutes and 34 seconds long. I prefer that version personally. Of More Than Words, Money and God We Trust. It's a monster. I never liked how the font was here at all, where it says it and then a parentheses apostrophe s, a monster. It threw me off left and right with that. Pornograffitti, the title track. We're gonna get that in a little bit, actually. When I First Kissed You, Susie Wants Her All Day. What? He-Man, Woman Hater, which I didn't realize until I was listening to it over and over again. The Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee was in the introduction on Nuno Betancourt's guitar. I thought that was sick, personally. I didn't realize that until listening to it and going back to it. And Song for Love, very good track overall. And Wholehearted. Wholehearted is a song I did hear live when I saw Extreme open up for Aerosmith back in 2022. And currently, and for those who don't know a little bit about Extreme is currently touring on their 6th album right now. They're touring across theaters across the U.S. and if not the world. Check them out if you can. But yeah, let me go back to the track list for a sec. Decadent Dance. This is an 8 out of 10 for me. This opening track, it's long. I'm gonna say that I don't want to repeat myself too much here, but these are longer songs than most other songs you'd hear on like hard rock heavy metal albums. For the most part, like this, the opening track is 6 minutes and 49 seconds. It's a long track, but it's 8 out of 10 free. Very good opening track. Kind of sets the mood of where you're about to go with this record. Little Jack Horny, or not little, but little. I'm not gonna say it right. Little Jack Horny sits at 4. This is a solid 8 out of 10 here too. Just a great rocking track. I love it. When I'm President, there's actually a 7.5, a little bit less, but nonetheless, still something great. I do enjoy like his lyricism in here as well as just with Gary Sharon's lyrics and Nuno Betancourt's lyrics too. 7.5 out of 10 for there. Get the Funk Out. This is a 10 out of 10. Get the Funk Out. I heard it live. It is a great song. It rocks hard live. It's really great. This is a 10 out of 10 for me, and I love this track so much. Guys, the bass, riff. They really cemented themselves as a band with some funk elements, but still stick to a heavy metal theme overall. And I really enjoyed that quite a bit. So Get the Funk Out's 10 out of 10 for me on that. It epitomizes what I love about funk music, rock music, metal music, and it kind of blends into one track. I do like that a lot. And then we get into the acoustic ballad of More Than Words, which is track number 5. More Than Words, I have a love-hate relationship with the song. I'm not going to go into it too much, but More Than Words is a very powerful ballad. I sit with this one at about a 9. It has some sentimental meaning to me outside of just being on this record. That's why I held it so high at a 9 as for an acoustic ballad. And everyone knows the iconic music video that Gary Sharon and Nuno Betancourt did together. With just playing an acoustic guitar and just them playing together. And it's funny actually. They played the opening of Stairway to Heaven before they played that song live. It was pretty cool. So it's a little like the opening riff or whatever. So it's cool. Money and God We Trust, another hard rocking track. I'm sitting at like a solid like 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10 on this one. This is a good track overall. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special, but I do like it nonetheless. It's a monster. This is actually sitting at like a 7-ish. I could go 6.5, but I'll do a 7 on this one. It's hard rock, and I really like it quite a bit. And it's what I expect out of an Extreme album, not just of the time too. A unique funk metal, not funk, but like hard rock, heavy metal with funk elements or acoustic elements or other elements here and there of this record too. I like the one quite a bit. So about a 7 out of that, 7 out of 10 on that one. Yes, we've said it numerous times now, but Pornograffitti. There's no getting around it. It's just the album title, guys. We're not saying anything specifically. We're not trying to get canceled. But the title track, 8 out of 10. Nothing super crazy here. I do like it though. It's good, but it's not what I expected it to be. Like going back and listening to it again, and I have it on vinyl too. Believe it or not, I have this album on vinyl. Not an original pressing though, sadly. But Pornograffitti, it's just a great hard rocking track. Just a heavy metal hard rock track. I really like it quite a bit. I remember when I first listened to this album from start to finish, I was like, oh, that's a great track. And then I went, that's a great song. Then I went back to it. And then recently, I'm like, I forgot how much I really like this track, Pornograffitti. But it's not a perfect track. And I know for those who listen to it for any period of time, I tend to gravitate towards title tracks. This is a title track, but it's not like the best title track I've ever heard. No, but it's up there for sure. I do like it quite a bit. Pornographitti is 8 out of 10. When I first kissed you, I forgot about this song. I really did forget about how much I enjoyed this one song. And, like the piano in it and the strings toward the end a little bit. I forgot how much I enjoyed this song because I haven't heard it in like years since I heard this record last. It's like kind of like the guy's in New York City. He's kind of like just doing his thing, and he's like it's a romantic song, yes, but it's got like a nice twist of strings toward the end there that really just epitomizes the song. I'm sitting at about like a 9 out of 10 for that one. That was a beautiful song. I mean, kind of forgotten about because it's on an Extreme album that's known for more than words, but this is actually really solid, like ballady song. I like the one quite a bit. And 9 out of 10 there. Susie, what her all they want? What Susie wants her all day? What? Sorry, that was a mouthful right there. I'm spitting out words. I know. Great song. This is about a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Just a really, again, hard rocking song. The lyrics are like of the time, but they're kind of like sarcastic at the same time too. Then we get down to He-Man and the He-Man Woman Hater with the Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee. Nuno Betancourt. You want to talk about really underrated, underappreciated guitarist? I would say Nuno Betancourt of Extreme. This guy is an incredible guitarist, and he is. I mean, no, he does not. He's not talked about amongst like the classic rock, hard rock community that much, in my opinion. But he's a big advocate for things like like how he was a big Eddie Van Halen fan, and you name it, go down the list. Look up Nuno Betancourt if you haven't researched him yet. He's a very, very kind of slightly underappreciated guitarist, in my opinion. He's just that good. In fact, when I saw him live, when I saw Extreme live, they actually did the Star Spangled Banner. He did it on a solo electric guitar by himself, and then that's how it opened up the show. So he's a very talented guitarist. He's really, really good. And the Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee in the introduction to it didn't do much, but it's still like cool nonetheless. You know what I mean? Song for Love, just a good song. It's not like probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10 for this. Nothing super special, just kind of there. And Wholehearted, this is one of my dad's. This has solid like 9 out of 10 for me. This song has a lot of meaning to it because my dad loves this song. Wholehearted, it's just a great song that kind of closes off the record. And such a unique. It starts off with the acoustic guitar, and then it kicks into the rest of the electric band coming in. Just an overall great track overall for Wholehearted there. So 13 songs nonetheless. An hour and 4 minutes and 21 seconds long for Extreme 2 Pornograffitti. I forgot how much I love this record quite a bit. And when I'm going back years ago, my dad said, "Hey, I'm gonna go see Extreme. I'm up at I'm going out of time. Who are you going to see? I'm going to see Extreme. They're going to perform the album live." I said, "Oh, cool." Didn't think much of it at the time. Revisited recently, and I said, "Wow, I forgot how much I really enjoyed this record quite a bit." It definitely has like some hardcore, hard rock elements, some metal elements, some funk elements that just stood out to me quite a bit, and I just love. There's so much I love about this record overall. But I'm sitting at about a 9 out of 10 for this one. This album, I would say it's if you're looking for more bands or more albums to go back to from like the 80s or the early 90s before grunge hit, before Nirvana, and all that, and check out like songs that are just check out an album that and forget just a collection of songs, just check out an album that's really just that good and quite frankly just has a great rock and feel to it, good vibes overall, and I can go on about this record quite a bit, but I'm sitting at about 9 out of 10 for those reasons and more because I forgot how much I loved this record initially, and then I went back to it for our stream today, and I was like, I forgot how good this was. It's so under the radar for so many people, I think, because most people just think of it for More Than Words, the number one hit single, and then everyone kind of forgets about the rest of the songs on the record. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But a 9 out of 10 for Extreme 2's Pornograffitti. Kyle, you're next, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So I actually find myself agreeing with JT on about half of the album here. I will agree. A very underappreciated album. Definitely fits in well as a pick for the wheel that we're working on here. I think it's underrated, mostly because of the time period this came out. Yeah, it was shortly before grunge, but if you look at that time period, 1990 was the tail end really of the peak. Hair metal had already and like glam metal had already reached like its peak commercial viability. I mean, in 92 you had uh Vince Neil leaving Motley Crue, and then you had grunge very shortly after. All the big hair metal bands were kind of already on that downhill slump, so having your biggest album be right at 1990 kind of gets like lost in the shuffle here. But I mean, we want to go to the track list, JT. Decadence Dance. I agree, JT. 8 on this one. It's glam metal like Kiss meets like the intricacies of Van Halen on this. It's a fun song. It's nothing revolutionary or anything like that, but it has a great chorus. Could definitely benefit from cutting down the runtime quite a bit. Otherwise, a really great way to kick off this album. Super fun. Little Jack Horny. I'm not nearly as big a fan of this one as JT is. This is like a 6 for me. Uh, Horn section is cool on here. I appreciate how many different like sounds they throw in throughout the entire album. It works really well. That section trading off with the guitar during like the guitar solo. That's really cool. But man, these lyrics are cringy, dude. Not good. Not good. So 6 on that. Then When I'm President, this is a 9 for me. This is the kind of fun, like stupid crap that I like. Uh has like a rap influence on it a bit, but a very heavy Aerosmith influence, specifically on this track. The chorus does get repetitive, which kind of prevents it from going all the way up to a 10. But I mean, the guitar riffs on here, excellent. I mean, Nuno Betancourt, JT, said it great, super underappreciated guitarist. He's really one of the best out there. Then you get to my favorite on the album, Get the Funk Out.
Mhm.
10 out of 10, absolutely sick track all around. Catchy as hell. It has some like sick, funky guitar riffs going on. The horns are great. It has an incredible solo. It has all the makings of just a perfect song. This should have been the popular song on this album instead of the next song, which I hate. I hate more than words can describe. This song, I will say, I'm going to give it a higher score than my own personal opinion on it, and I'll give it a 5 because objectively, it's an okay song. I understand why people would like this song. It is not for me. It is super tacky. It is super lame. It doesn't really go anywhere. It just feels too long. Having a radio edit definitely benefits this. Yeah, Nuno does like a good acoustic guitar. It's well done, but it does get a little bit repetitive toward the end. Nothing really happens with it until the very end of the song when he does a little solo there, acoustic solo, but can't stand this one. Never liked it. There's also, and I never noticed it before until Christina, my wife, pointed this out. There's one specific part about halfway through the song where the vocals sound off key for like a split second, and I can't not hear it anymore, and it drives me nuts. Uh, but I'll give it the benefit of it being an objectively good song. I get why people like it, so it's a 5. Then Money, pretty much with JT on the next two here. In God We Trust, it's another fun song. Could be better. It's a 7. Too repetitive. Uh, the chorus just goes on too much. The guitar work is great as usual, which is a constant throughout. Then you go to It's a Monster. Couldn't agree more with the way that they wrote this one out. Very strange. This one's an 8 for me, though. I think this one definitely super fun. Wish the chorus did a little bit more than what it did. Um, but it's really elevated by the horn section, and this has like this cool bridge. It's almost kind of like a breakdown that they do with like some like not like a metal breakdown, but they kind of break down everything, do like a little blues riff that leads to this like absolutely blistering solo. Really cool section. And then we go to one of my 2 least favorite on the album, Pornograffitti. I understand that glam metal and hair metal has never had good lyrics, but usually in, outside of a few select things here and there, there's usually a bit of subtlety there. All subtlety is just out the window on this lyrically. Incredibly cringy. Like this is a song I would not want people hearing me listen to. It's that cringy lyrically. The guitar work, again, good. But this is the one song, the only song on here I would say that Gary Sharon's vocals, there's something about the vocal melodies on this one that I just don't like. Everything else he sounds great on, but there's something about the melodies on this song that just don't do it for me. And then that's kind of where the album takes quite a dive for me, if I'm going to be honest. Because when I first kissed you, I didn't expect like a crooner style ballad on here. So it's cool. One thing I really appreciate about this album is it it's not afraid to change things up. It's not afraid to experiment with other sounds, even when it doesn't do so that well. I just don't think that Gary Sharon has the best vocals for this kind of style. So I wasn't really a big fan of this one until the orchestra kind of kicks in about halfway through. Then it's elevated a bit more. But when it's just kind of like the piano and his like crooning vocals, I didn't really care for it. So I mean, this one kind of landed at about a 5.
Or like ruining vocals. Yeah,
All
ask me.
right.
Yeah.
And then we got Susie Wants Her All Day What? This is a 5. It's just kind of a straight up filler track. Really didn't like the weird inclusion of the Susie sells seashells by the seashore randomly in there. Uh, doesn't add much to the album. But then we got the one song that I like on the second half of this record, He-Man Woman Hater. This is a 9. I really like this. I mean, that neoclassical guitar intro by Nuno Betancourt, absolutely incredible. Transitions into this cool, like bouncy guitar, like groovy riff. The amount of different directions and sections that like this song goes into throughout is awesome. Guitar throughout the entirety of the track is fantastic. Uh, the only thing keeping it from a 10 for me is the drums in the entire first minute of the song doing the same thing to the point of annoyance. And I get what it's, going for, but it's just honestly could have had no percussion there and had just the guitar. I think it would have benefited from that. And then we get to my least favorite song on the album, Song for Love. I think maybe I'm speaking for myself here. Extreme should just stay away from ballads. Every one of them that has been on here has been my least favorite on the album. Terrible lyrics again on here. Nothing interesting about this song. Boring as hell. Super dragged out. Definitely could have been left off the album. I mean, when you have an album that's 13 songs at over an hour runtime, you can probably cut some fat off of that. This is one of them. This is a 3 for me. Really don't like this one. And then Wholehearted goes back to what I said about their stylistic changes. It's a, fun stylistic change, bring it to like a like Western country sound. That's cool. I think they could have done a bit more with it. It's a fine song. I don't think I would have picked it for a closer for an album like this. So, I mean, for me, this was a 6. I kind of wish this album ended with more of like a bang, like more of a fun song, like the first half of it. The first half of this record is just loaded with these really fun, like groovy, funky, just hair metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it, just bangers. And then you have the second half kind of has like these ballads and like some more kind of experimental things I think they kind of miss more than they hit at times. So kind of wish they ended with something more along the lines of like Decadence Dance or something just rounded out better. I don't think Extreme does ballads well. For me, this ended up being at a 6.5. Uh, First time, I think that hearing More Than Words really turned me off to ever really checking out Extreme's like catalog at all. And after this, I would probably check out more of their stuff. I think that if they really like focused on not the ballads, probably some great stuff there. And I think another thing that turned me off from checking them out was Van Halen 3. Having listened to Van Halen 3 before any Extreme album just made me not the biggest fan of Gary Sharon's vocals, but night and day, absolute night and day. Van Halen did not utilize him as they should have. He could have been an excellent replacement for Sammy Hagar. really wasted potential on that one. So yeah, 6.5.
All right, time to round it off, Mike. What do you got?
All right. Wow. So yeah, once again, I'm kind of in the same boat as Kyle when it came to checking out Extreme. I knew them for that one song growing up as a kid, and I never really checked into them. And you remember that song by Mr. Big? You know, the it kind of reminded me of this of not being known for one ballad song
Yeah.
and not the rest of your stylistic music that you put out. Um, if you don't know what song I'm talking about, Mr. Big, I'm the one that feels, I forget the name of the song. I think it might be called something like that. But yeah, like so I didn't really know much about them. So coming into this, I was it was a blind listen. And so I didn't even know when the album came out. I had no idea it came out in 1990s. It sounds like something that should have been released like somewhere in that realm of like 80, like maybe 87, maybe 86. And the fact that it came out in 1990 was very interesting. There is a lot of blending of different styles here. Sometimes it feels a little gimmicky, especially in the lyric department. I can't agree with Kyle more. The lyrics cringe on a lot of fronts to an almost painful level. Um, there is a difference between fun and just being obnoxiously kind of like um targeting a certain topic that would get you appreciation amongst your buddies, but in general, like would alienate a lot of listeners who come in kind of unaware that you're gonna
That's
be
where subtlety comes in.
right. Subtlety is not the metal guys best forte, not their forte. So once again I gotta echo JT. I had no clue who Nuno Bettencourt was. Definitely an underrated
Really?
guitarist. Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Wow,
There's
that
a lot of
surprises me.
I know. And it's interesting because there's some of his riffs that remind me of get the guitarist Kiko Lareo, or even some of the Angra guitar kind of similar to that. There's a certain melody in there that makes me think of like Brazilian power metal uh you know rock. So it's just kind of cool to hear that. Yeah, so kind of coming straight into it. Decadent stance. Yeah, once again, like the lyrics are just terrible, but like, man, what a great voice this guy is. Very clean, powerful, commanding voice. And you do hear a lot of similarities. I wouldn't say similarities, maybe influences, maybe
Mm.
similar style to Aerosmith. Throughout this whole record, even some of the yow, when he like this, the vocal, the kind of funky kind of feel to their, that funky kind of, feel that Aerosmith really kind of like you get that feeling in this album. And I know they're both bands are from Boston. They
Yep.
both kind of share the same hometown. It could be a thing coming out of that city in this period of time. So applying that to this album's kind of overall tone, there are a lot of things going on that, while I don't appreciate in the realm of being under the sound of Aerosmith, I do appreciate coming from this band's, their interpretation or their presentation. Yeah, but you got that glam rock esque world that they're bringing in this. You got some funk going on. Decadent Dance has got it's just got that fun sounding song. Those riffs, man. Holy smokes, this guy writing some riffs that just are just awesome. The riff in this song is just so great. It's just you could chew on that and it just never gets old. Definitely enjoyed this one. Is 9 out of 10 for me. A little repetitive, but at times, but it pulls it off. I've always spoken to you guys about repeating something, but being able to repeat it because it's good enough to be able to use that. Whereas you don't want too much repetition of something that's not the greatest part of the song. And they're able to do that. So yeah, 9 out of 10 off the gate, and then we come into a little Jack Horny that once again, horrible lyrics. Cool stuff going on in the riff department. Vocals, once again, Aerosmith on full array here. And I'm with you with Kyle. The backing brass and horn accompaniment is really cool in parts of this song. And that solo, I love the how it just has this very floaty, spacey kind of feel to it. That solo is great. Overall, though, this song is just the cringe from it, and the overall just inability to really pull off this song and make it something that showcases the strengths of the song. Just kind of it felt a little lacking. So 6.5 here, it just definitely is still kind of keeping in the realm of what they're going for, just not able to seal the deal. And Kyle, if we could be more opposite, I don't think I always what do you say?
So I figured.
I mean, I check my temperature, the pulse. I checked in with my doctor, and they said everything's a-okay because I gave the next song a 4. And yeah, and I look at yours. As long as yours says something completely opposite, Mike is okay. I don't like it. Once again, Kyle says I'm not the fun guy. I am not the comedy kind of like gimmicky, walk this way, Aerosmith, like rappy rock kind of guy. And this song just is one of those ones I wanted to skip so many times listening to this album because it's just like it's just it hits on such a bad note for me.
It's
It's that era of what do you say?
it's goofy.
It's goofy and it's like
Yep.
it's not something I enjoy to listen, but like I saw on TV back in the day where they had a weird video where they're like doing stupid things on it, like wearing costumes and you know uh getting arrested by the police or something like that. Like they did these kind of corny videos back in like the 80s and 90s that were just for fun. And like while I appreciate the attempt at that, it's not for me. Yeah, it's just one of those things I just always skip. So, there we are, Kyle. We're always on par. But in my reversal of that, "Get the Funk Out" is a fantastic song. Once again, we have a horrible lyric continuation repeat. But I mean, holy smokes! Like the horns, the guitar alongside it, the solos, just the feeling, the energy. This song is just a good time. If you're in a room and this song is on and you're just crossing your arms and you're like leaning up against the wall and you're shaking your head no, like you need to get the funk out. Cause I mean this song is just fun. It is just energy. It has got just got a lot of good things coming on with it. Now to note something for the account. There is a continuation of something that happens on a lot of these songs at this point and going further. A repeat of a similar kind of like rhythm or intro to a lot of the next songs after this that begins to kind of hit my ear a certain way. I can't explain it without just making the sound with my mouth, which I hate doing. But it's just this certain rhythm and intro to a lot of the songs that starts to have the same kind of thing that kind of hurt a lot of like my impression of their ability to write a song without kind of reusing some of the rhythmic and kind of stuff going on. So like
I picked up on that too.
yeah, it is that like they use that rhythm so many times for the next like 8 or 9 songs that I just started to like go, oh come on guys, like you can't just do that at some point on the beginning of your songs and like you know no one's gonna notice, but then it like doesn't continue that way. The song can go somewhere. It's just disappointing that they were just fell back on that rhythm continuously to almost the like painful level, like where you're just like you get to see their writing process. And I actually listened to another song off a previous album, "She's Not a Good Place to Stay" or something like that. I don't know if you know that one. It it is literally He-Man Woman Haters rhythm to a T. And when I listened to that, I was like, this is He-Man Woman Hater, but not. And when I can do that with a song, I begin to worry about the people writing the song, that their process of writing might be a little too similar in their head. Like, you ever notice when you talk to someone and they kind of use the same approach to everything in their life, like they come at it from the same direction? It kind of feels like they began to do that after this, after we break out that first four. More Than Words, and then More Than Words is a complete opposite. Great song. Can't agree with Kyle there. Well written overall, just catchy. I love the vocal inflections and change ups. I didn't hear the part where they go out of tune, but like I'm sure you definitely picked up on it, and it might be just that, like, a little bit of a strange, dissonance.
Yeah,
But
it's not enough that pretty much anyone would really just pick up on it. But once
sure.
I heard it, I can't not hear it.
Yeah, sure. And I understand that completely. There's a lot of stuff that happens in songs today, where I pick up on something and people don't. But if it bothers me enough, I'll wonder. 8 out of 10 for that. More Than Words. Great song. Good catchy chorus. Then we kind of come into this next up song. I just was not a fan of this song. Lyrically, it's just weird and kind of I get what they're going for, but it kind of does a lot of the same. The chorus, once again, I agree with Kyle. Like, it just kind of just doesn't really have the greatest parts there. Uh, it was a forgettable song for me, especially after More Than Words. I kind of was in a different mode in the album. Like, I wanted to hear something different, and it just kind of went back into something very hair metalish, but not in a good way. Yeah, just like a 4 out of 10 for me on that. Then we go to It's a Monster. I don't know, whatever that is. This is where I began to start hearing those similarities. Very similar riff in the opening. The repeating of the lyrics again. It's a monster. It's a monster. It's a monster. I mean, literally, if you count the amount of times he says that in this song, it is brutal. Overall, I mean, guitar work can't sing those praises enough. Overall musicianship, to the point where you're just like, I almost enjoy listening to these songs so I can hear the solos, the guitar parts, and the general song direction and development is almost not as important as just how fun the songs are and the fun the riffs are and fun the feelings are. Now, that's a strange place to be in, because it's kind of against my usual rules of music. I generally am the kind of person who's like, if the song doesn't have a good beginning, middle, and end, and find its way through the song without reusing too much stuff and rehashing too much stuff and putting it all together and blending it evenly, then I kind of am off put by the whole song. But this was the opposite. I almost loved the elements versus the entire song itself, which is kind of crazy. So 7 out of 10 for me, though. It's still a fun song, where I could feel like it could be a little less repetitive. It still did pretty good. Once again, same kind of feeling for Pornograffitti. Opening rocking riffs through the chorus is okay. Similar elements to the previous songs, but once again, it's a solid rock feel. Cool jam section. I like when they do the jam session where you have like the bass starts playing something and then the horns echo it and they kind of play back and forth, and they do this kind of jam thing going on like they did in Get the Funk Out, that I really just enjoy and would make a real great live show. Once again, that little repetitiveness hurting its rating, but 7 out of 10 solid. When I First Kissed You, this is where I took a dive. Now, I'll explain. I appreciate the diversity that they're going for. They're flexing their muscles of, hey, look at us. We're not just a one-trick pony. We got More Than Words. We got When I First Kissed You. We got Wholehearted with that country feel. We're a band. We're not just doing the same thing over and over again. We're able to show our that we're not a one-trick pony. And while I appreciate that, it's kind of like a Pretty Little Thing Called Love, or Crazy Little Thing Called Love, excuse me, by Queen. Yeah, hey, look, we can do like an old throwback song. It's just not pulled off. And I agree with you, Kyle, here. It's just, it almost feels like, hey, I'm going to prove to you that we're more than just the hair metal kind of funk metal that you're hearing. I'm gonna prove it to you by flexing my like jazzy lounge crooner style song, and it's just overly uninteresting and okay. Like it's okay. It's not, there's no real tenderness, there's no real hard hitting feeling. It's just like doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 10 for me. It's one of my least favorites on the album. And unfortunately, not because you can, not doesn't mean you should. Once
Yeah.
again, I agree with Kyle. The vocals are, yeah, just not able
One
to pull it off.
one thing I forgot to mention talking about that one,
Mhm.
it fell into the lyrical trap too that I feel like so many of these style of songs fall into. Just talking about
Yeah.
like New York and like New York at night. And oh my
Yeah.
God, if I have to hear another song like that, I'm gonna lose my
Yeah.
mind.
Right. I agree. Yeah. And that's why it feels gimmicky, because it's like, there's a lot of gimmicks on this album, but that really feels gimmicky to the point where it's almost like we have to do this in order to fit into a certain kind of expectation of, if we're gonna do a song like this, let's talk about New York, because those are kind of those songs, from like, that era. So then Susie wants her all day what. Similar opening, that dun 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 dun. They did that same thing. It's just getting old, but it's just an okay song. 6 out of 10. He-Man, Woman Hater. I love that opening, that Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee. That has such a cool layered effect on it. Venom Corton is just an absolute monster. But He-Man, Woman Hater's got that same kind of feel, that whatever they're doing there, and it just started to annoy me to a point where I'm just like, like, but I still really like this song, and I do admit it is a weird thing to listen to an album but still have such a good time. So 8 out of 10 for me on that. Song for Love, another horrible song. I agree with you, Kyle. One tenfold. It's just the opening is Nobody's Fool by Cinderella. It really is. Like it has the same
It does.
uh so the chord progression, but it just doesn't continue on like Nobody's Fool. It just goes into this generic, uninteresting, no real guitar life, lyric cheese, hair metal ballad, unsuccessful attempt. 4 out of 10 for me there. And it kind of had that mysterious Nobody's Fool Cinderella feeling, but then just abandons it for just this weird lyrical, like the song for you, like I don't know, it felt like a kumbaya, like sitting by the campfire.
Oh
um
my God.
yeah, yeah, so I don't know what was going on, but I was like, yo, snap out of it, Extreme. Your name is Extreme, not like I don't know, like uh dreaming, like going to sleep, I don't know.
Dreamweaver.
Dream. Oh, we're gonna get copyright claim
Oh,
there.
don't do it.
And then Wholehearted, man, those soulful riffs. Holy crap, man! This dude Nuno can write some real, like they just keep your mind interested. And it's just got some real, like, this is what I tell you. Country can be cool in the rock area if it has something interesting happening on it. Just if it's not just like generic, it's got those harmonics, the acoustic harmonics going on. I love that chorus. 8.5 out of 10. It's one of my top of the styles of the song. So I was really conflicted. I was like, do I let Kyle be the second villain in a row? Because I did give this a 7 out of 10. But then there's just a lot of repeating elements that started to kind of like bog me down to say, like, I enjoy this album for what it is, but if I were to listen to it straight through, it would begin to have those repetitive elements to it that begin to like annoy me. And like, it's a good album if you pick like, oh, I'm going to take this song, this song, and this song, and this song out and put it on a playlist. But like, I don't want to hear everything all the way through. So I'm going to match Kyle at a 6.5. And I
Wow.
What a
wrote
rare
6.
occurrence.
I wrote 6.5 out of 10, then I wrote -7 out of 10, and I put like, I'm gonna make the decision in the review because I do award a half a point based on it, and I do deduct a half a point from this album for having an overall issue with like some areas where they feel gimmicky you got the gimmick of of the When I First Kiss You. You got the gimmick of like some of these other kinds of songs in there that just feel a little like cringe lyrically, like When I'm President, and like a couple of the other ones. Just heard it's over. And then one of the review things on Wikipedia said that thoughtful lyrics that were like, I was like, thoughtful what? Because I don't know where are you getting these things. So I understand there's some like cliche, not cliche, but like pushing the envelope, like talking about this or that, like the money one, or like the When I'm President one. But like overall, thoughtful is not the first words that come to my mind when
I don't know
discussing
if it
this.
would have
So
come to my mind at all.
no, I think thoughtful and I wouldn't say edgy. I would call them uh like abrasive vocals in the realm of like lacking subtlety would be more of a of a focused, So I'll put 6.5. Could bump me to 7 if I got a chance to kind of mellow and marry this album in my mind. That's an alliteration there, folks. Three M's,
Three M,
um
like the tape
three
player.
M's, yeah. Marry the mellow and all that. But yeah, definitely 6.5 for me. So we can beat the dual villain
The dual
combo here.
villain.
But all in all, though, outside of that, a fun album. JT, I appreciate you bringing the light here. I really should have paid more attention to Nuno Betancourt. His
Yeah.
skills, dude, is an absolute guitar monster, and it's good to hear the different flexes coming from this guy, be it in the acoustic ballad part, or the funk part, or the country part, or these guys are trying to hit a lot of notes. And when you do that, you do get flack for maybe trying too hard. It is an impressive feat to be able to pull that off.
All right, you heard it here first, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, as always, to our podcast. That's going to do it for us here on the Super Review Show's Career Retrospectives. Q&A podcast is still going on, right, Kyle?
Yep. Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you get podcasts.
Definitely not Apple Music.
Now, guys, I forgot, maybe because I'm old, but I don't remember what the next album that we're going to be doing. Like maybe it just, yeah. I mean, maybe I just,
Mike.
yeah. It was what?
I think you know what it is.
I think you know.
Is this a new artist? Maybe like a new, like
It's holding it
what? Why are you holding that,
Readily
Kyle?
available.
Oh, Kyle,
I got the vinyl back there behind me that you can't see.
Lord, give me strength. Okay.
So next week is the Tortured Poets Department.
Coming in sometime this week.
Oh, Lord. I might have to drink during the next review, folks. I just want to point that out.
You might have to.
Yeah.
31 tracks for you to digest, Mike.
Oh, my
Over 2 hours.
Oh, pray for me, folks. Pray for me.
Oh, I got you, bro. No worries. But yeah, so if you can't tell already, our next album is Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poets Department. Is it called the Anthology Edition, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna basically, it's a 2-hour album, it's a double album. We're gonna break it all down for you. I know the album already came out, but we're gonna review it next week as we get situated with like how many tracks? 31 tracks, is that right?
31 tracks.
All right, can't wait.
Be the Tortured Mike department.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be the title of my
title the video it that way.
Yeah, title that video. Yeah,
we're gonna title that episode as the Tortured Mike's department.
Make me the thumbnail. Make me the thumbnail. I'll be the thumbnail.
It's gonna be you.
Photoshop a little teardrop on
it.
we can do that. We can try.
Yeah, we have that budget.
We sure do. It's free. But we want to thank you all for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. Ultimately a very unique album on its own, but you heard it here for a 6.5, and a 9 out of 10 for me, truly. But yeah, thanks so much for watching and listening, guys. So tune in next week for our new Taylor Swift album review. Check it out next week. We'll see you guys next week. Stay safe, take care, and be awesome.